Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is White Rice Wednesday, which means time for my Survivor recap. So, this week's episode definitely wasn't as amazing as last week. It was kind of a little bit depressing in a way. So, it first starts off with Parvati and Sandra going to the edge of extinction. And Parvati's mingling with everyone, and Sandra's mingling with everyone. So then Sandra brings up that she's not going to be here anymore. And they're all like, were you going to pull the flag? And Sandra actually does quit the edge of extinction. So Sandra is the only person that is not coming back in the game. I from watching Survivor for so many years, I don't really respect quitters because other people could have had their position in the game. But it's a little bit different with Edge of Extinction. I mean, they still quit, but Sandra's reasons were actually valid because she's said to herself she's not good in challenges. I mean, we've seen week after week here, she's always sitting out in challenges, and that's another thing too. Usually, if people sit out in challenges, people are like, well, they're just sit-outs, they're not doing anything. I'm okay with sitting out if you don't think that you can contribute to the challenge. Then you're actually helping them by sitting out. So Sandra's point to quit was she's not good in challenges, and she really doesn't have a good chance of getting back in the game. So why would she sit there for 21 days when she knows she's not going to get back in the game? So for that reason, she definitely had a valid reason to quit. Unlike the first time they did the Edge of Extinction, and I know the one quitter's name, I don't remember the other one, but they just quit, and they definitely did have a shot to get back in, but it was, so yeah, I definitely agree with Sandra's decision, and it was kind of bittersweet seeing the Queen kind of retire in a way. Like, that's the last time we'll see the Queen play the game, but as she pointed out, the Queen stays Queen, although that might change if somebody else, if another female wins this season. So basically on the Blue Tribe, things aren't all rainbows and unicorns over there. There's so much tension over there between Wendell and Michelle. Wendell tries to do some of the work to try to get back in everybody's good graces. He tries to, but still be honest with people. Many probably don't respect the fact that Wendell's honest, but they feel like that Wendell, it's like talking to a brick wall, like they can't like communicate with him. I did think it was interesting that Michelle gave him one of her fire tokens. That's a bold move, especially since fire tokens are now a new thing in the game of Survivor. We still don't exactly know. I think we'll know next week in the merge how valuable they can be, but we're starting to see how valuable they can be. And that's another thing too. I did not know. Well, yeah, it didn't cross my mind that you could give somebody a fire token. So yeah, she gave it to him out of goodwill, hoping to kind of repair the relationship from last week, and he just was kind of being standoffish and not really talking to her, so Michelle kind of thinks she wasted her fire token. Over on the Red Tribe, they seem to be pretty tight. I mean, they seem like they're getting along pretty well. However, does seem to be a solid 3 between Kim, Jeremy, and Denise. Tony is kind of the odd one out because he's like the only one left in the game that's a obvious threat by name. And I love Tony. He's one of my favorite winners, but I definitely think he's hanging on by a thread, and I think he's very smart to use people as shields so he doesn't appear like he's a threat. He did make a point saying that he wants to keep, he knows Denise is now a threat because of the move she made last week. If you guys didn't watch last week, Denise made what I believe will go down as a legendary move in Survivor history, where Sandra gave Denise her idol, in exchange for her fire token. Denise had 2 fire tokens, so instead of giving Sandra both her fire tokens, she said, before tribal council, I will give you 1 now, and then I will give you 1 after the fact. And Sandra agreed to it. So everybody voted Denise, and the whole thing about this was that Sandra said that was open and said that it was going to be Denise tonight, but she said she was going to give her idol, and that Denise will make the say in who goes home. And Denise actually wrote Sandra's name down. And even when Sandra got to the edge of extinction, they couldn't understand why they gave Denise all that power. So Denise has a target on her back. Not an obvious target, but just in that tribe alone, because the rest of the tribe doesn't know exactly what she did yet. So Tony, I believe, wants to keep Denise around because of what I said about the shields and everything. But Denise seems to want to work with Jeremy and Kim. I mean, the fact that she gave Jeremy her idol last week, I definitely think that they'll have a tighter alliance going then versus Kim and Denise. I definitely think that Kim's a wild card right now. I definitely feel like she's uncomfortable from the tribe because she's not in control. I mean, during her season, she was in an all-girls alliance and she dominated the season and was all in control, was the obvious leader. So I think she's kind of figuring out how to function without being the leader. On the green tribe, they had leftovers of peanut butter and jelly. And they're wondering where the idol is. They don't know that Sophie has the idol, so she's just sitting back, loving the idol talk. And Adam says to Ben, he went back there, he couldn't find it. So people think that Adam's whining, and I don't agree that he's whining. I feel like Ben was poking the bear and wanted to get a reaction out of Adam and make him look annoying and a bigger target. And he was, because Ben was just saying, oh, in this season, Devon's found the idol above the shelter. In this season, they found it in a clay pot. So I definitely think that Ben's being more annoying, and I just feel like that Adam is sick of Ben's antics. Should he have reacted the way he did? No, I definitely don't think Adam should have given Ben what he wanted. I feel like, it's so hard in that, in those elements, because you're out there dealing with people for 39 days, and, he has to stay calm, cool, and collected, and Adam has felt like he's been on the bottom for weeks, so I guess it's pretty hard to navigate through that. So the challenge, they had to navigate through this obstacle course, and they had to hold this big, heavy dome, and they had to basically get as much water into it as they can, but then the trick is they have to hold that dome going back through the obstacle course without dripping water. And they definitely had different approaches to it. The blue and the red tribe were going fast and they lost a lot of water, where green was going slow as a snail, and it actually ended up working for them. And they actually ended up winning immunity first, so that whole saying, slow and steady wins the race, definitely applies here well. And it literally came down to like a split second, and red ended up winning. So it's very, very bitter that blue won, because Nick, as Jeff pointed out, played this during his season, and he still couldn't win. They definitely, when they get back to camp, both Wendell and Michelle were on the puzzle, so both of them have accountability because they were on the puzzle, but Wendell was kind of talking smack, so they kind of blame Wendell for that. So the obvious choice would be, for what we saw last week and saw this week, for Wendell to go home. And they seem like they're all on board with it, but then Yule points out that the fact fire tokens are in the game is Michelle says that she might want to get rid of Wendell. She's open to basically any offers. And the question of if Wendell got voted off, who he would give his fire tokens to, and they want to assure that they would get fire tokens. So Yule brings up, well, I believe he said, I'll go this way if you give me a fire token. And the thing about Yule is he's a very nice person from what we're seeing. I mean, It's been years since I've seen Cook Islands, but from what I've seen on social media and him in the game, he just seems like such a genuine, kind person. And in the game, he's just so strategic. And the rest of the tribe mates are starting to see that maybe keeping Yul around isn't the best thing for them. And so I definitely think it's going to come down between Yul and Wendell, and quite frankly, I have no idea which one of them is going to go home. So when they get to tribal council, they brought up the whole prior relationships thing. With Wendell and Michelle, obviously have dated outside the game. But not only just them, it's who you know outside the game. Like Yul pointed out, I think it was Yul. Yeah, I think it was Yul that pointed out that you only have seconds to like make those bonds on the beach, but when you have prior relationships to somebody out in the game, you don't really have to do all that work because you already have that bond. You don't have to work to like build relationships with that person. So like Rob and Amber, they're married, so they don't have to worry about building an alliance. There's an alliance already right there. Tyson and Rob know each other outside the game, so there's an alliance there. So definitely having a prior relationship with somebody, it can be an advantage because then you automatically will have two people in an alliance then with you. However, there's the negative side because you know those two will be together, and we see how dangerous power couples can be in the game. And power couples don't necessarily have to be, oh, they're a couple, they're together, they're dating. Power couples could just be a solid two, and we see prior relationships could kind of cloud judgment in the game, but we see how dangerous that they can be. So, and just from this season alone, if we're going by a whole prior relationships thing, if they were all still in the game, the rest of the people would be screwed. It ended up being Yul that got sent home, and this one stung a little bit because, well, Yul wasn't in any of my drafts, but I definitely, as I mentioned, he seems like such a genuine, nice person. The fact that he wanted to give all of his winnings to Penner's family, like, that just shows the amazing person and human being he is. So it was kind of like how I knew Adam would give, again, we don't know anything before the game starts, but when he said that he did a lot of work, he did some work with Relay for Life before, and the fact that his mom was going through stage 4 cancer, I knew he was going to give some of his, just by that information alone, I knew he was going to give a portion of his money to cancer research. So you definitely have to respect that. Whether you like them or not, you have to respect that they want to give some, if not all, their money to a specific person or cause. So that one stung a bit. However, Yul does have a chance to get back in the game. Next week's episode we see is The Merge. So all hell breaks loose. Every man for himself. Yeah, definitely. That basically looks like how it describes next week. It's all chaos. Everyone says we should vote this person. We should go with this person. Yada, yada. And yeah, should be very interesting. And also, if the Merge episode comes, we'll get our first person back from the edge of extinction. And I'm excited as hell to see who will make it back. I don't want to make my predictions at all who will make it back, because it's literally anyone's game. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Survivor. If you guys want to check out Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS. Hope you guys enjoyed Survivor and my recap. Stay safe out there and stay regal.